Shearwater Airfield in Halifax, Nova Scotia has been operating as a Canadian military airport almost continuously since 1918. Beginning with 4 HS-2L flying boats for anti-submarine patrol, it has functioned since then as a base for naval air support. Currently in a changeover phase from Sea King helicopters to Sikorsky Cyclones, the Shearwater base provides maintenance, training, and combat readiness for the naval fleet. In the annals of military aviation, the naval aviators hold a unique position of functioning in the most extreme conditions. The challenge of operating from a pitching carrier or the minuscule deck of a modern frigate is second to none. The skills of both the flight and ground crews need to be exceptionally high to function successfully. Canadian naval airmen and women have been accomplishing these tasks with distinction since the advent of World War II. The Shearwater Aviation Museum is a testament to their legacy. The museum combines a collection of vintage aircraft, flight simulators, library facilities, including everything from first-person accounts to rare film footage, maintenance and restoration facilities, as well as various historical displays.
The Shearwater Aviation Museum is a very unique Canadian Forces museum. We have a mandate that's very specific to this air station and the aircraft and squadrons that operated from here. There's a continuity in the story from the very beginning in that our specialty is anti-submarine warfare, and that threat was established in the First World War with the German U-boats that were present in the Atlantic waters off the coast of Nova Scotia.
World War II exhibits include a situation wall from the Battle of the Atlantic, a special room dedicated to the Canadian aviators who received the highest medal in the realm, the Victoria Cross, and a rare fairy swordfish biplane.
The sinking of the Bismarck was credited to one of them old swordfish.
In May 1941, swordfish from the aircraft carriers HMS Victorious and HMS Ark Royal were involved in the search for and sinking of the German battleship Bismarck. 29 aircraft armed with torpedoes attacked in 2 waves. One torpedo severely damaged Bismarck's rudder, seriously limiting her maneuverability and allowing the pursuing British task force to finally sink Bismarck the next day with naval gunfire.
I was joined at 17 the Royal Navy at the start of the war, and I was transferred here after the war ended.
A quick tour of the museum reveals a wealth of vintage aircraft like the Avenger, which was flown from HMCS carrier Magnificent.
Well, I commissioned Magnificent, which probably was my favorite ship. I thought that was a wonderful ship with a wonderful crew.
We embarked in Magnificent, I think in 1954, 55. The event was very well suited to carrier operations. It was rugged, it could take a lot of punishment. But we did run into a barrier on the Magnificent, and we caught the last arrestor wire. Didn't stop quickly enough and ran into the barrier, which prevented us from going into the deck park and messing up a whole bunch of airplanes.
It's probably the most demanding pilot flying that you'll ever do, this carrier work.
The Bonaventure aircraft carrier, which replaced the Magnificent, had modern angled decks and was a distinct improvement necessary for a Cold War jet-age footing. This Cold War was just a name to most Canadians, but to the people on the front lines of anti-submarine warfare and bomber interception, it was as real as it gets. The frontline jet fighter for the RCN was the Banshee, a rugged all-weather carrier-borne fighter. Its high stall speed made it a challenge landing and taking off from the limited space on Bonnie's deck.
I saw the last Banshees land on board. I went to the deck in Bonaventure in '62. That was the year that they retired.
The weight of anti-submarine warfare remained squarely on the shoulders of the Grumman Tracker, a twin-engine attack bomber.
The Tracker did all kinds of wonderful things.
It didn't have any bad faults that would get you in trouble.
It did a lot of hairy things as well. For example, when taking off Bonaventure, it went through a wave where we lost sight of it completely and still made it around to land back on the carrier. We all thought it had gone into the ocean. So it was a real hardy little airplane.
Carrier pilots had a demanding job with total faith in their ship and crew.
Crews were well trained, and because of that, it was not dangerous. It was sometimes exciting at night. And of course, then you also spotted the center line of the deck and flew the airplane into the deck, basically. Of course, you got to remember, but you were out in the middle of the Atlantic. There's only one airfield you're going to land on. Always go back and think of those days with fond memories.
When the RCN retired the Bonaventure in 1970, the ASW function turned to the newly minted Sea King helicopters, which were then retasked to destroyers and frigates.
The formation of large 10-ton helicopters on the back of very small frigates, it was a significant accomplishment.
Canadian ingenuity designed and built a landing tool essential to safe operations of the helicopters on a microscopic landing deck. This bear trap made landing possible under all weather conditions. They are still operational 50 years later.
For every small ship that bounces around, there's always a steady period. It would come up and it would ride on the crest of a wave for a couple of seconds. And after LSOing for a while, which is using the bear trap arrangement, you got to know when the steady period was coming. We would sit in a bit of a higher hover waiting for that to happen. When you saw it coming, you could nestle down a little closer. And when you got the signal from the LSO, down you came. And of course, with the bear trap would snap on the probe at the bottom of the airplane, and you had a 2-point fix on the aircraft at that point. After a while, it got to be a challenge between us all to see who could make the best landing in a rough night.
One of the hardest things, I think, was to service naval aircraft under those conditions, especially on the destroyer, because you're up trying to do maintenance on the top of the aircraft, and the ship is rolling. So you have to wait till it rolls back and presses you against the rotor head, and then you do your work, and then you wait, hang on, or she rolls over, and then it comes back and you work some more, and if you're not seasick.
My name is Sea King Pete, and it's Sea King Pete for a reason. I loved the helicopter. I started with Sea Kings and I ended with Sea Kings.
The Sea Kings will be a welcome addition to the current helicopters, the HUP-3 and the HO-4S. The museum anticipates the arrival of 2 Sea Kings soon after their decommissioning. It will need a larger space to accommodate the new acquisitions, and a building fund is currently underway.
See if it'll take it.
An important function of the Shearwater Aviation Museum is the restoration of aircraft in the collection.
Are they easy to get in and out?
Those are really easy. These are a little more difficult. I enjoy being here. I enjoy the people here. I come here twice a week and I love it.
So for anyone who's mechanical or likes to fix things or build things, it's kind of, you know, being like a kid in a candy store.
All right, just let her down. It's a dream come true for me because I'm always going to monkey with airplanes, so I might as well do it here in a nice environment with nice people, and so it's beautiful.
Preserving the history is really important, especially aircraft with, you know, a long lineage like the Spitfire, the Hurricane. And this is a unique project because it's starting with nothing really and doing a complete replica as opposed to doing a full restoration on an older aircraft. So the plan right now is get the Hurricane in position and hoist it pretty much straight up. We're going to put the wings on, of course, and do the little finishing bits.
That'll come out easy.
The Swordfish is an authentic example of a restoration using period materials for authenticity. However, the one aircraft that the volunteers are most proud of is their vintage Ferry Firefly. It has taken the restorers many years to rebuild the airframe that was discovered in Ethiopia and returned to Canada. After being fitted with a functioning Griffin B-12 engine, the museum took it for a taxi run-up. Since it is their only example of this rare aircraft, the Firefly remains on static display. The most recent addition to the museum is a light transport aircraft, a Beechcraft 18, or as it is more popularly known, the Expediter.
It is another actual Shearwater airplane. It was in VU-32 Squadron in 1957, I believe. We've been very fortunate. The airplane, when we bought it, had no engines or propellers on it. The community college has donated 2 engines for us. People are interested in saving our history. There's no doubt about that.
The museum has more than just displays. Its philosophy encourages the visitor to engage with most of the exhibits, with the exception of the Swordfish due to its rarity and fragile shape. The T-33 cockpit remains a hands-on favorite, and group tours led by experienced professionals are easily arranged.
If you have somebody here that can actually explain the things and what they were doing, or put a personal touch on it, I think that makes all the difference in the world.
I bring students through every course and tour them through the museum, and it's so interesting to show them the Swordfish and say, listen guys, this is the genesis of our trade, the air observer. This is how these guys lived.
The joy of discovery is evident at the museum as the rich experience shows on visitors' faces. Most people walk away with at least one unforgettable memory. Commemorations of your visit are available in the gift shop, which has a generous collection to choose from. The Shearwater Aviation Museum is open regular hours during the year. For details, check the website.
I think our chapter of Canada's military history is unique, but seen in partnership with some of the other military sites in the city, it makes for a really great day to visit and really appreciate what Halifax strategic and military history has been all about.
It is, in short, a gem of a museum with a unique concentration on Canadian naval aviation. And bonus, it doesn't cost a cent.